When I started Beastars, my first question was, why animals? It seemed like an otherwise normal school setting. I mean, we don't follow a wolf hunting with his pack, prey in their natural habitat, or really anything animals actually do. Instead, they're mostly putting on a play, worrying about tests and school gossip. I came into the show expecting all the animal stuff to be window dressing, some minor thing for one-off jokes, or maybe just a simple attempt to separate itself from the pack. It didn't take long to realize just how wrong I was. Truthfully, the animal cast is paramount to the appeal of the show, and is a powerful heuristic in delivering its themes. And I think the best way to show this is through a book you probably had to read for introductory English.
Well, tell me like he done before.
Tell you what?
About the rabbit.
Of Mice and Men was written by John Steinbeck, and at a measly 108 pages, it's a quick read. It stars George Milton and Lenny Small, two displaced migrant ranch workers looking for jobs during the Great Depression. Now, what the heck does a book written in the 1930s have to do with Beastars? Glad you asked. You didn't? Well, I'll tell you anyway. Maybe I'm just strange, but Legacy couldn't stop reminding me of Lenny. They're both kind of the embodiment of a mismatch between demeanor and stature, someone armed with tools for which they have no need. All Lenny wants to do is pet soft things. It's just unfortunate that his petting often leads to, certain death. He's too strong for his own good, and not smart enough to make up for it. Likewise, Legacy probably wishes he was anything but a wolf. A lot of Beastars is him feeling ashamed for something he can't help, being a carnivore. Just like Lenny, there's a delicate balance between how he composes himself mentally versus how his physical traits manifest. And also like Lenny, there are moments where his primal instinct rears its ugly head. I actually love how the show starts by focusing on theater, seeing as acting is inherently about donning a nature that is not your own, something Legacy struggles with as we progress through the show. However, due to the themes it wishes to present, Of Mice and Men ends up being sort of contrived. And now, there's nothing wrong with contrived. I'm not about to try and take down a seminal piece of literature. But for Lenny to be an effective character, Steinbeck exaggerates his innocence and defenselessness in order to recruit the reader onto his side in the short amount of time that he allots. However, Legacy is able to establish the central theme right off the bat just by simply existing. The very first spoken words are, "That day I had a sudden encounter with a small rabbit and my own instincts." Boom, instantly we get it. It's a story about man versus self. Or rather, wolf versus self? In these two quick sentences, we can imagine a battle between one's morals and one's inherent nature, much more quickly and effectively due to the anthropomorphization. Another major theme in Of Mice and Men is that of weakness, the unfortunate reality that in society, oppression often comes at the hands of the weak as much as it does from the powerful. In Of Mice and Men, with its silly human characters, this is shown through the other workers at the ranch. Crooks mercilessly rips apart Lenny's dream of owning a farm with George, going as far as sadistically suggesting that George doesn't truly care about him. However, we come to understand that this lashing out is a result of his own crippling loneliness. Soon after, we begin to see all the people at the ranch act similarly for similar reasons. Moments of cruelty juxtaposed against moments of vulnerability. Notice how much setup is required for an arguably simple theme of the weak tend to prey on the weak. You need to have at least some knowledge of race relations, the status of the economy at the time, the dynamic between the workers. Beastars handles the same theme once again in the first episode. Let's take a look.
さすがね。学校中から無視されても、はるちゃんは強いのね。どいて。
In a world where herbivores are being literally eaten by carnivores, prey are preying on each other. Once again, the fact that they're animals eliminates the need for elaborate setup for the payoff, and instead, more time can be spent on individual characterization. The theme is inherent within the premise. As a final example of how Beastars takes advantage of its extra time, we can take a look at Louis. He's almost a perfect foil to Legacy, someone who wishes to cast aside his nature as prey, and instead, refute the notion that carnivores are intrinsically superior by becoming the Beastar. His raw self-assuredness contrasts against Legacy's reluctance to adopt his nature, who considers it a curse more than a blessing. However, over time, Legacy becomes more and more empowered to embrace his nature, balancing it against his goals in order to become a better version of himself. Meanwhile, Louis is confronted with a moral dilemma. Haru has been kidnapped, and he's been asked to keep quiet about it. Despite doing his best the entire show to show strength, in his blind desire to erase his past, he abandons Haru. As Legacy comes up to him, frantically saying that they need to do something, he tells a lie to himself. There's nothing we can do for her now. He understands at some level that after all this time, he is still weak. And it is here that Legacy finally shows that balance of nature and nurture, showing Louis the inner sense of justice that Legacy has and he lacks. This dichotomy between balancing your inner instincts with mental acuity is something that Beastars is able to accomplish fantastically due to its unique choice of cast. There is a baked-in tenseness between predator and prey that might have required elaborate setup in context with the more traditional set of characters. Instead, we just sort of understand the other students' feelings towards Legacy at the beginning of the show, more so when considering the tragic incident that starts us off. It accomplishes some of the basic themes in Of Mice and Men, but in a way that allows it to ambitiously attempt to go further beyond. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for more content. And there will be more content, I promise. I know I kind of disappeared for a bit. Needless to say, I had to deal with some personal things, but hopefully I'm back, at least for a while. I apologize for going off the radar out of nowhere, and promise to be more communicative in the future. I also want to apologize to my Patreon supporters. You deserve better than to be held in a state of ambiguous perpetuity. Thank you to TayrunBG, Georgie Pote, Lake Tamer, Green Redemption, Anna Mestuk, and Ramilaroy for their support. Keep an eye out for updates to the reward tiers in the future. And of course, if anything I said was wrong, I'm sorry. I must have stuttered.